Well, hey there, folks. This is Justin from CartoonSmart.com. Today's podcast, we're going to talk about importing in an image sequence to Adobe Flash, making some changes to it, and then exporting it right back out again. And let's go ahead and shut off all those notifications from LinkedIn. Thanks a lot. Don't even use you guys. All right. So, and by the way, I am joined as usual by my co-host, Cleavon. You're telling me that you don't use LinkedIn? That's one of the world's greatest resources there for finding potential clients to harass. Okay, so that's great, Cleveland. Thanks. What we're going to do is look at some of the artwork that comes included with your Cartoon Smart subscription, because why not just shamelessly plug that? And coming up this month is this muscular Viking guy. My artist labeled this as chibi, which means small, but I think in this case this is what are those? What's an oxymoron? Like a big shrimp? That's an oxymoron. Your guess is as good as mine. Yeah, so I don't think it really should be called chibi. This guy's pretty big looking. But anyway, so what we're going to do is we're going to play around with making this guy darker, maybe add a little glow to the side. So kind of really changing the fundamentals of the artwork, and that could go well if you wanted to, say, do a side scroller where some levels are darker in a cave or something like that. So let's get to it. And you said that we're going to be using Adobe Flash. What if you don't have this program? Why'd you bring that up? That doesn't help anybody. You have to, in this particular case, you have to use Adobe. Actually, I'm sorry, Adobe Animate or Adobe Flash works. So thank you for sidetracking us, but also bringing up a good point that there are two versions of the program now. Okay, so what we want to do is go over here to File, Import, and this is important. Is that where the word import comes from? Is it short for important? No. We want to go to Import to Stage, and we're going to find the image sequence. This is actually our second attempt recording this, because I just made the mistake earlier of importing in these frames and just went horribly wrong from there. This was actually the 10th one, but because it's labeled up here at the top, I grabbed it. Let's view by name and then grab the first frame. There we go. Dying_0000, and it's going to say the file appears to be part of a sequence of images. Do you want to import all of the images in the sequence? Click on yes. Of course, we want to do that, and I've already got the files kind of sized up correctly for the source image. I'm going to click OK, and you can see that now we have imported in all of these frames. All right, one little issue though is it's a little offset from where our stage is at. We want to basically export out an image that's exactly the same size as what we got, right? Okay, so how do you think we would do that, Cleavon? Oh, well, my first guess would just be that we would go over here and just take our time and just kind of put it up like that and get it all sized in there and just go back to the next frame. Yeah, but that would take us a lot of time. So let's go ahead and undo that. We want them all to be in that kind of same exact layout that we brought them in with. And then what we're going to do is click on the Edit Multiple Frames option, so that little button right there. And you get these two little handlebars at the top where you get to pick out exactly what frames on the timeline you want to manipulate. If you have trouble, what's this here? Yeah, if you have trouble with this kind of moving them around, you might want to move this to somewhere in the middle and then click on it again. Although there we go. So you can see that I could pick a range from the beginning or the end. And now we've got them all, but another little gotcha here is you might start to move them and find that you are still only moving one of them. What you want to do is go over here to Edit and then Select All. There we go. That's going to get you all of them. And now we can get them right into place. You might even be able to just put in here 0, 0. There we go. And at this point, we should also consider kind of changing the way that they look. But, well, here's something of a problem. These are all just bitmaps at this point. So to be able to use some of the filters and things like that in Adobe Animate, you sound condescending when you say that. I am a little bit. I'm not a big fan of the name change. But to do this, we need to make each one of them into a symbol. And unfortunately, we can't just hit F8 and make them all each into a symbol. So here's where we do have to do a little bit of work. So basically, just go through here, and as quick as you can, I'd even put the left hand on the F8, your other hand on the the greater than symbol, or is that the less one than one? So you can just kind of thumb through as quick as possible, select each one. You can see how quickly I can do this. Actually, each one is still selected when we go over that frame. So all you really have to do is just get to the next frame, hit F8, and you should be able to make a symbol out of each one of these. The name really does not matter because we're just going to export these back out again. And we're already almost done. By the way, this kind of looks like the weekend that I had. Actually, I was gone for an entire week. You didn't let me come on the microphone and talk or do anything like that. So I felt like I kind of didn't exist for a little while. And yeah, it felt a little bit like I was just writhing in pain, sort of like this muscular Viking that, oddly enough, looks almost identical to me. My beard is not as long. Okay, thanks, Cleavon. So I think we've got each one of them, and now we can go back over here to edit multiple frames. This time, yet again, select all of them. So you just want to go over here to edit, and I already did it with my hotkey. Select all, and at this point, we should now be seeing the color effect options. And more importantly, the filters. I mean, you can do some really nice stuff with the color effect, but I think in this case, we want to mostly deal with our filters. And something you might want to consider doing is actually, even before you start to apply those kind of en masse, is take another image, just kind of pull it off to the side here for a moment. Let's put it on another layer. Here we go. And kind of use this as our initial test copy to play around with some of these. So for like I was saying, we can make them darker. You could use adjust color over here. And so you could kind of take that down. You might want to take the contrast down just a little bit if you're going to do something like that. And you could even take the saturation all the way down if you were perhaps using him in a black and white film, who knows? And is that how they made black and white films? They just took the color and then they took the saturation all the way down? No, I don't think they've had the color figured out first. It was started in black and white, and then they added the color down the road. That's fascinating. Did you go to film school or something? I did not. So now what we want to do is maybe add a glow onto here. So let's... Actually, no, you know what? I'm sorry, not a glow, a drop shadow, which sounds kind of odd, but we're going to make this an inner drop shadow. Let me fold this up so you can kind of get a better idea of what's going on with this. And all right, so there's inner shadow. And at that point, you probably won't be able to tell because it is just this dark black shadow. But let's say we put on kind of a yellowish hue. Take the distance out some, and then now you can start to get the feeling. And you know what? I always like to kind of mock up this stuff with a dark background, or at least a gray background in there, so you do get an idea of if this is for like some sort of dark cavern layer, what your filters are going to look like on top of this. So all right, let's we can spin the angle around. I think that would probably look kind of cool, right? Get a little bit maybe just on top of that shoulder over there. You can even blur this out so you can see that. I can kind of pull that up a little bit. That doesn't, a lot of times I don't think that looks as good on a piece of 2D artwork. So, if you take the blurring all the way down, then it really kind of looks like it's 2D rendered. And then we could take the strength down, so then it's maybe not so hot. Well, that's just great. Thanks, Grandma, for posting that. I'll have to close down Chrome now so that doesn't happen again. And then, that wasn't actually my grandma. All right, so let's, how come your grandma doesn't use Facebook? Because she's like 94 or 5. Just not on her radar. Okay, so yeah, I'm just kind of now just being a little picky about how this is looking. But maybe get a little bit of the blurring in there. All right, so something like that, and you can kind of just keep stacking these effects on top of each other. You can even copy and paste them. So, for example, let's get cut off, but what you could do is you could go copy selected filter. So if you wanted just kind of an easy way to maybe put 2 of the same filters on there and then just kind of do a little A/B testing, a little marketing term there, right? I guess, and make one of them invisible, so you could just kind of toy around. Or let's try 2 of them with slightly different colors, and let me make this one kind of like reddish. Now, since this is has the same properties, it's obviously kind of overtaking the other one. But what you could do is you could then pull this one back, and that almost has like a 3D effect to it. Look at that! Whoa, weird. and something I sometimes I would do too is here. Let me. I kind of like that yellow. Is make do exactly what I'm doing here with the red, but just make it black, and then that way you kind of don't lose some of that nice kind of black outline that you kind of created the artwork with. And let me let's see. Let's just get the distance over here. Set that back up. So if you were to look at this, go back and kind of zoom in a little bit. Hopefully you can kind of tell what I'm getting at over here. So imagine if this was invisible. I like the glow, but I don't like that it's kind of taking out that black line. And there's the point that I'm saying. And you could actually probably do even better job of fixing that by deleting that filter out and then putting in a glow. And again, just making the glow be a inner one. So there you go. You could so now it's inner, and then bump this up, bump that up, so you can see. And you lose a little bit of that glow effect over there, but at least now you get that nice kind of hard line yet again around the edges. And oddly enough, the more you bump up the strength, kind of almost the tighter the blurring effect gets. And I could also, you get some different effects with the more the quality is, and I think it is probably a good idea to set the quality up. So anyway, we're gonna. This is what happens if you let me be nitpicky on these videos. I'll sit here and play with it forever. But let's see if we can get a little bit of the glow back on the shoulder. All right. So anyway, would we have to do this to every frame? No. And actually, guess what? We can, now that we've kind of got this the way that we want it, we can go over here to copy all filters. Again, it's getting cut off, but it's that second option over there. And then we can go ahead and get rid of that guy. Let's make our stage, though, nice dark color so we can kind of get a sense for this. And yet again, just go over here to edit multiple frames. Let's select them all. Go over here to paste filters. Whoa, look at that. And then we can kind of back out of that mode, and you can see, boom, there he is, falling down, looking nice. You could even do things like add a drop shadow, or not a drop shadow, a kind of just a shadow underneath him. So for example, you could take a nice black color over here. Usually if I'm going to put in a shadow, I'll blur it out just a bit on the x-axis at least. Set that up to high. Maybe take the alpha down just slightly. And since he is going to fall down with that drop shadow, one thing you could consider doing is hitting F6 over here. I still end up using these classic tweens a lot in the program. And just so if you just right click and go to classic tween, basically you'll just make it so that we can interpolate this frame over here to this one. So for example, I could move this over. I could scale it out like so. And then you can kind of see that probably would look pretty good. It's a little hard to tell with that dark background, but there we go. Make it a little bit lighter. So you can see how when he falls over, that drop shadow kind of gets taken there with him. Might even ease it out a little bit, so it's kind of like that. Boink. And there you go. Now you've got the guy toppling over. You could even add effects to him. So for example, let's say we want to do something that symbolizes he's getting injured, right? So here we could just take a square, kind of hit the Option key if you're using the Mac, or the Control key on the PC, and you can just make extra points off that one square. And here we go. You're still not letting me talk that much, and why is that? Did you kind of forget how? Did you forget how to make me talk? What are you talking about? I'm not. You're just a guy here in the studio with me. Oh, am I? Okay. All right. Well, hey, maybe I could do the next one then. What do you say? So let me. So this guy's kind of getting thugged in the head, like somebody threw like a beer can at him. So what you could do is you could maybe hit like F6 to kind of keep the keyframe party going. That'll make automatically make another one over here. And you taught me this trick. What you could do is if you don't feel like drawing this again, just flip it around, right? And then you could rotate it. So, and I used a hotkey there. That's how good I am at this program. But you can go over here to transform, flip horizontally. So watch what happens. See, now it does look like you made a totally separate piece of artwork, but it happens to just be that other one that you had before. And then another thing you could do is hold down the Option key, or probably on the PC, the Control key, and just drag out a copy of the other one, and then hit the Q key, scale it down like that. Look at that stuff right here. I did get hit by a beer can over the weekend, and I saw exactly what this is right here. It was like these spikes that came out of it, and yeah, that was pretty much it. But the thing is, though, is I got no ill will toward anybody, because I was actually the one that threw the beer can, and I just kind of was doing like a yeehaw type thing. I tossed it right up in the air, and the thing just came right back down on my head. So that's another that's something you'd want to watch out for if you ever tossing any sort of can up in the air. It doesn't matter, especially a full one like I did, which doesn't make much sense, because it's never a good idea to shake up any sort of can too. All right, so Cleavon, let me just take it back over. All right, so now, yeah, we've got this cool little effect. He's kind of gotten hit in the head, and what would look maybe kind of nice is if one of them was a little less spiky, and then one of them was like really spiky, something like this. And of course, these effects you could even put some filters on too. So I'd probably say start a bit smaller than what you got, and then boom, like that. So yikes. And maybe that's a bit much, but there we go. Let's tone it down just a little bit. All right, so if you got that far, what you can now do is go over here to export movie, and you can send all these frames back out again. So it doesn't really matter. I mean, I'll make a new folder, and I'll just export them just to kind of prove that this does work. So we'll put in here new frames and create it. So export it. I don't know. Dying Viking. Flash is going to, Adobe Animate is going to put in some leading zeros in front of it. That's okay. But just so you know that what I put in there was basically the base name for it. And now I got to go dig around my hard drive for, where did I put that? Dropbox. Been making some new bundles of our game art to sell on our sister site, gameartpartners.com. So it ended up just putting it over there. But here we go. Well, maybe at the end of the video, you could show people some of the new bundles that you put together, since you have no problem shamelessly mentioning it as you navigate your Finder. Yeah, but that wasn't my point. I wasn't trying to do that. So yeah, that looks pretty good. Obviously, a nice, very high resolution export. And yes, all right. So I guess we are done with the video. And if you did want to check out some of the new bundles that we're putting together, this one's got 60 characters in it. Look at how beautiful that is. That's a lot of characters. I don't know if I could come up with a game that uses every one of them. What would be the case be where you've got here? Let me just scroll down here for you. Oh, that guy comes with it. Look at him. He looks familiar. What would be the case where you've got the mech robot and the knights fighting each other? What game would that be? It's just you get a lot of different characters. You can use them in as many games as you want with this particular bundle. Oh, here's another image over here. Yeah, it would be like what about this Arabian guy versus the zombie versus the let's see, the samurai guy. Yeah, I mean, maybe some ideas are kind of coming to. Oh, they could all be riding dinosaurs too. That seems like a game that maybe a 4 or 5-year-old would really, really embrace. All right, okay. Well, I get the point, but this is a great bundle of artwork. Each one of them is animated. Now you have me in pitch mode over here. I'm not the one who started it. Okay, all right. Well, if you do want to check this out, friend us on or like our page on Facebook. It's we got 2 of them I should mention. It's Cartoon Smart. No, I'm sorry. It's way to go. You're really blowing it. It's facebook.com/CartoonSmartFans. That's our Facebook page. Are you telling me that you couldn't get facebook.com/CartoonSmart? Yeah, apparently somebody else grabbed it. And then facebook.com/GameArtPartners is the other one. Oh, good thing Good thing nobody took that one out from under you, huh? All right, so thanks for joining me yet again, Cleavon, and come back soon for another Cartoon Smart video tutorial podcast. Why are you doing that? I don't know. I just thought I'd try it. No, that's terrible. All right, bye.